everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Skulls and Shackles. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have...
Lieutenant Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shans.
Ataraxia Kalian.
And Buster Buildwater.
We got the party to level up!
Yeah!
And everyone is level 8 now, but not after some very involved character moments with relationships. Relationships between Ataraxia and Buster getting further developed, and we learn a little bit more about Buster, while also on the flip side, we learn a little bit more about Ignis, as she speaks with Max, or rather, a silvery, shadowy echo speaks with Max. And after these heartfelt conversations, discovering a little bit more, this moment of calm as we head back to the caves of the Sooligans to retrieve the treasure. That is where we join this week's episode of I Cast Fireball. But before we jump into the events of the story, let's talk about our level 8 upgrade, level up.
Level 8?
So, level 8, for those that are following along at home, usually involves an ability score modifier change, or you can take a feat instead, which also comes with an ability score modifier usually. But we're going to go around the table and see what other special things they might have gained from their level 8 upgrades. We're going to start with Buster. Buster, what did we get with level 8 here as a wizard?
I mean, I get a couple more spells every level. I can kind of like keep building out my spell book. I think I'm up to... How many prepared spells can I have? I think I can have 12 prepared spells now. So I'm building like loadouts of like known spell lists. So like I've like got like the adventure 12 and then like the research 12, it's kind of
utility 12,
combat 12. Yeah, that's kind of the way that I'm working on it. So, and I'm trying to build out a little more combat just because things have gotten so violent. I think Buster feels the need to head that direction. But and I built him not as a combat wizard, so it's like I can search for stuff, but don't count on me in a pinch.
He's having to adapt.
But I was going to go with the Warcaster feat, which gives you some kind of interesting like buffs around combat magic. However, I do feel like his intelligence score needs a boost and to kind of like enhance his spell casting. So I went ahead and took the ability score improvement.
Nice. Bumping it up by 2, eh? All right. We're going to jump now to Ignis. Fighter. Level 8 fighter here.
Level 8 fighter also gets a ability score increase or a feat. And after looking at the feat specifically in the player's handbook, I think thematically with the direction that Ignis is going, I'd like to take a feat, but I'm worried about it maybe being unfair. So if it gets that way, will you let me know? I'd like to take the Sentinel feat. The Sentinel feat, when you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of their turn. Creatures provoke opportunity attacks even if they use disengage when they move away from you. And when a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against a target that's not you, you can use your reaction to make a melee weapon attack against that attacking creature.
Ooh, that is a good feat. I love that feat. We're going to have to see how that shakes out in combat here. And that'll be really fun, people trying to escape.
I like balance and I like fun and I like giving hardship, but I also recognize that some things just, when they stack up, start to be a little overpowered. And so if Sentinel doesn't work out, I'm okay having that conversation. But I think that's the direction thematically that Ignis is moving, so I think Sentinel will be the feat I'm taking.
And we'll jump to Max now.
For a level 8 ranger, there's the ability score improvement / possible feat, and you also get a cool ability called Landstride, which means all non-magical difficult terrain does not require extra movement anymore. Also, if there's any sort of leaves or leafage or plant life that requires or that would damage you, can't damage you anymore, And you do have advantage on saving throws against magical plants to impede your movement. So, like, if someone casts the Entangle spell, I actually have advantage on the saving throw.
Oof, that is good.
It is. I decided that I'm gonna go old school, and I'm just gonna do an ability score improvement. So I improved my dexterity, which I got to 18, so now I am +4. And I increased my wisdom, which is now at 16, so it's +3 now.
Nice. Well done, sir. Okay, and we finally rounding it out, Ataraxia.
This may surprise you, but I, at level 8, get an ability score improvement or a feat.
Me too.
Yes. What I did this time around is I just bumped up my wisdom by 2 points from 14 to 16. So now my passive perception is 19. Keep that in mind,
That's-
Thomas.
I just will assume that you see it all.
Mine is 19 as well. I forgot about
Look at that.
Holy
Twins.
moly.
Wisdom increases that.
But I feel like it's thematically appropriate for Ataraxia to gain wisdom from all of these events, just from the beginning of the campaign. Like, it's like been building up. Like,
He's learning.
yeah, that conversation with Buster, writing everything down. I dig that.
Yeah, and I do get one more 4th level spell also.
Nice. Very good. That is the makeup of our level 8 level up here. So we jump back into the story. As you sail westward back towards Mancatcher Cove to retrieve the treasure, the loot, the remainder of what is there. Ataraxia and Buster, you benefit from a long rest. And so you get your spells back, you get your hit points back. And Max and Ignis, you most likely will be taking a long rest while this recovery will be occurring, unless you decide not to. But some things to note that once you get there, the cove itself is pretty much the same on the outside. There's still the gaping hole falling in down into the cove as well, which I know you all avoided when you sailed into the cove on the Silvery Barb. But with the Satyr Song, do you go straight through the center of that cove, or do you try to skirt around as well?
The fact that we're asking makes me wonder.
What do you think we should do, Thomas?
I think that what you think is what I think.
I think it would be really exciting if you guys sailed right over the center of this lagoon.
Wow.
You're the captain.
Which hidden depths.
I bet there's fish there.
Okay, Max is on
Max
board.
pulls out his pole from the crow's nest and just...
I'm not going to long rest. I'm going to fish.
I'm not going to lie.
There we go.
I kind of expected Thomas to be like, all right, so you guys got the gold and move us on. So the fact that we're not moving on makes me think like something's going down.
I mean, yeah, as
Or
close...
I'm one of those DMs that likes to roleplay every minute.
Can we not just kill a king and leave? Is that like not a...
I've been playing with Thomas for a decade. No, you never get to just kill the king and leave.
I'm rolling my divination for the day.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
I think we skirt around as reasonably as one can skirt around in a full ship.
Yes. With that, I will have Buster, who is now taking the helm back, I will have him do a sailor's check to see how well he can navigate. But Max, you actually can assist in this if you would like.
Thought I had to long rest.
You can long rest once they're doing this,
Oh,
but
great.
before you long
Yes,
rest,
I
you
will
can jump
assist.
down and you can assist with your ranger skills. You can sort of like look over the edge and maybe see exact like landmarks, since this is...
Would that give me advantage?
It would give you advantage, yes.
Okay.
Or you each can roll separately.
What do you think, Max?
What is the roll?
Yeah, it would be a sailor's check here. So like you with your person.
I get a +7.
Take it. Take it away.
Okay,
I give
so
him
with advantage, sir. Max leaning over the edge, calling out just as minutely as possible, trying to navigate and assist in hugging the side as closely as possible, because that hole is gaping and ominous.
25.
Wow, 18 on the die. That is
It was my
great.
first roll. 18 +7. Math.
As you skirt the same path that you did on the Silvery Barb, you get as close as you can, which is as close as you dare get. You actually feel some sand like scraping up against the bottom of the ship at times, which, as you recall, it is basically a cliff underwater leading into that hole. And so you have to, at times there's like sand that is banked up and piled up near that cliff. And then Max, other times you see that it is just sheer rock. And so you are trying to help him navigate away. And with a 25, you almost exactly follow the path that the Silvery Barb followed. But it being a pontoon and basically on top of the water, of course, you can't get exactly. So you very minutely make your way just barely over the cliffside of the hole here. But fairly confident that if there is something below, you haven't exposed yourself to it. And certainly not completely over the hole. And now at this point, Max, you may long rest. You can assist if you'd like. If you'd like to keep pushing yourself, and Ignis as well, you can push yourself to assist in the retrieval of the treasure and loot. But Buster, it's your decision on who you send down, which of the 25 crew members you would like to assist. I should say it's Ataraxia's decision, but Buster's the one casting the water-breathing spell.
And Ataraxia trusts Buster, so Buster gets to make the decision.
All right, who on our crew? So Glenn Levitt was not a great pirate. We miss him. You know, tragic what happened to our boy Glenn Levitt. But
It's very true. He was not a good pirate.
he was probably not the only one. So how many other...
Are you looking for red shirts? Is that what you're doing right now?
I'm looking for terrible pirates who need to carry their weight a little bit. And Buster's going to be a bit of a bully and be like, all right, you dummies, you're carrying the loot and doing a little bit of manual labor because you don't carry your weight as
Is
a pirate.
Buster going down there too to lead it, or is he just...
I am going back down, yes, absolutely.
Oh, gotcha.
I love the water. I'm not going to cast water breathe and not be part of the group.
Ignis would also like to have water breathing.
I mean, if any of the council wants to come, they're welcome. I'm not going to say no to any of the council.
Max will step forward.
So Cabin Boy Thomas is going to be one of them.
As he should be.
Here's the real question: Is Thomas going to let us make up crew members, or will he give us? If we need a name, I have a name generator shirt on.
That's cool. Just start rolling. Just start rolling now.
Hang on. Blood Twist Shimmer Cream is...
What's that? Who?
Blood Twist Shimmer Cream.
Okay.
Naturally.
We're just letting the dice do their thing.
Okay.
I'll name one of them Tullamore. That's a name that's been on my mind.
Okay. Tullamore. Good one.
Tullamore.
Tullamore.
How do you spell it?
Tullamore.
Somehow, this one landed on only S names. So, this next one is Spoon Sludge Slug Soup.
Yeah. He sells
Spoon sludge, slug
seashells
soup.
by the seashore.
Spoon
Slug soup. It's slug soup.
Oh, I love that. I've already got a backstory for him.
Perfect.
Great. So they've got 3 of the 5 here.
Just as a musical tribute, I'm going to name one Danny Boy.
Nice.
Yep, that's a good one.
And listen, we are prefacing it with the fact that these are specifically the worst of our crew. So just to
Yes.
Yep, Danny Boy.
Yep.
So we've got Cabin Boy Thomas for sure. He's on this.
I mean, if we're going for the worst one, should we just go with like Wesley Crusher or something?
Wesley, for sure.
Oh.
There should be a Wesley.
All right, last one.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Shut up, Wesley.
Wesley Crusher. There we go. Done.
Well, to be IP friendly, should it be like Wesley Slasher or something?
That's funny.
Wesley Usher.
Wesley Usher.
All right.
All right, Wesley Usher. Okay, Blood Twist, Shimmer Cream, Tullamore, Spoon Sledge Slug Soup, Danny Boy, and Wesley Usher.
All right. So we have our...
And these 5, actually, they have banded together because they know that they have not risen to the level, and they've actually kind of formed their own little posse. and
The lower
they've
decks?
stuck together because
lower
they
decks.
are
The lower decks.
The lower
Oh
deck
my
council.
they are just trying to survive. You go up to them, Buster, and you ask Blood Twist Shimmer Cream, and he goes,
I was the dessert maker, and I got stolen.
I don't need your backstory again, Shimmer Cream. Listen,
Not interested.
I'd still get much face time with the Captain's Council.
there's a reason for that.
Oh.
Look, it's time for you to carry your weight. Here, take this little silver knickknack. I had to make like little tiny silver things for everybody, so that I could, so the spell would work.
Spoon Sludge Slug Soup goes, why should we listen to you, man? I mean, like,
Throw him overboard.
why is the captain not speaking to
I
us
don't know.
directly?
I don't know, Max. Why should they listen to us?
Why do you think?
Spoon Sludge Slug Soup looks over at Max, grinning, and quickly takes his little chip and shuts up.
All right, Thomas, over here, cabin boy.
Hi.
That's his voice.
It's not just us.
That's Thomas.
Hi.
So
Here,
how many
take this.
people can be water breathed again?
10. So it's the 5 of us and the 5 worst.
Well, Max and Ignis
Oh.
don't have to go,
Oh.
but
We
Oh,
volunteered.
we volunteered.
They volunteered, yeah.
Great,
Is the
great.
captain staying?
Do you want me to come with you?
Yeah, I'd love for you to come. I mean, you're always
Awesome,
welcome.
let's do it.
So do we need one more?
is what? Well, you can only do 10, right?
Yes. Okay, yeah,
four,
then never mind.
Four
we
in the
got it.
captain's council, the posse of 5, and Thomas the cabin boy.
And then Thomas the cabin boy.
I'm just here to have a good time with everybody.
Okay, everybody shut up. I have to focus. This is very important magic. Please, if everyone could look away. I don't like doing this in front of people, but you all have to be here. I have to enchant the silver. You just give me a moment.
Perhaps I could assist you, Sir Buster, says Wesley Usher.
Shut up, Wesley. Turn around. Only speak when you're spoken to. All right.
Buster woke up really cranky today.
I know.
Time to enchant. Who am I gonna enchant? I'm gonna enchant you.
I don't remember that.
And that's it. All right, here you go,
I
everybody.
don't remember that.
Listen, this is the only way I could figure out to enchant them all. And then you guys sense no real magic having been done, but this is it's a mental block for Buster. He has to do this to make it work. So then he steps up to the edge of the boat, takes out a piece of straw, puts it in his mouth, flicks it with a snap of his thumb, lights it, breathes in the straw, and on a breathe out says, "Breathe water." And little embers float away from him as one of the strings on his scarf lights up, and an ember goes to each person holding a piece of silver that Buster gave them. So we all have our rad, silver-worked satyr horns symbols for the satyr song, and the rest of them just have these little silver chips.
Booyah.
And then I kick Spoon into the into the water. Hey, man!
He splashes down in the water. You hear him gasping below, going,
You can breathe it. That was the whole point of the spell.
I can't swim.
I'm just gonna wait for everybody else to come down here.
I look at Ignis and I go, "This is actually making me miss Glenlevin."
She just solemnly nods.
And then I dive.
The paper of Glenlevin we have at the bottom, Buster misses you.
As we're all getting to shore before we leave the ship, Ignis will make sure that the trident is actually in Ataraxia's hands. If it's something that we need to gain passage through, to have the authority to go in and to take the treasure and not have the Sahuagins attacking us or coming after us or whatever, the captain should have the trident.
Works for me.
Speaking of which, Ignis, why don't you roll a d3 and see how many charges get, pull it back into the trident, in case one of these crew members become a little unruly.
We turn him into a statue.
Do I roll a d6 and cut it in half? How do I roll a d3?
Yeah, so it's a d6. 1 and 2 is 1.
Great.
3 and 4 is 2. 5 and 6 is 3.
That's a 2. So it gets 2 charges. I rolled a 4.
So he gets 2 charges.
Can't turn anybody
Okay.
to stone.
Can't turn
Yeah,
nobody
can't turn
to
anybody
stone
into a
this
coral
time.
statue.
Ain't that
Right.
just the way?
Ain't that just the way?
You just have to deal with these annoying people as Danny Boy is humming to himself as everybody else jumps down this shaft into the water and splashes below. He is probably the only muscular individual here besides the captain's council. Everybody else is fairly not a lightweight, but it's not their strong suit. But Danny Boy, he's quite quiet, but you could see that at the very least you've got his strength to help out. And then all of you splash down into the water, and you, Ignis, I imagine, light the way with your light as maybe Ataraxia leads the charge, swimming, holding the trident aloft as you make your way down this watery corridor.
For logistics,
Yes.
you told us that we could not enter the corridor through the middle of this lagoon. We have to go in through the tree, right?
Yes.
Okay. Ignis will, much like King Trident, light the tip of the trident to light the way. We will leave Ataraxia to light the way and guide the way, and then Ignis will actually hang back and do something different. But it looks like Jake has something to say too.
Yes. Max.
Does Zendara have the spell light? Does anybody else have the spell light? Just so we can have multiple lights down there.
She's a cleric, does she?
She is a cleric. I believe clerics. I'm just double checking.
I could cast fairy fire on some people.
And the all glow as we're going.
Is light in the cleric spell list 5e? What would we do without the internet? It is in the cleric spell list, so Sandar does have light.
I'll ask her to cast it on just like one of the claws or necklace pieces that Max has.
She goes, I'll be staying behind, but here you are. And light is illuminated.
Thank you.
Going the same pathway that you all took to get to the throne room, it is quite a journey, but as you do go through, it is empty. The corridors and caverns that you saw that maybe hinted at some sort of population, the feeding room has almost been cleared entirely of debris, and it is almost clear water, if you will, because of all of the lack of individuals that are now here. Ignis, you said you wanted to do something else, yes?
Using the chaos of everybody getting to shore and getting into the right cave, making sure we went in the right cave again, and going down and getting through the roots and getting everybody into the water. Ignis will hold back on the beach or at the back of the group and slowly create distance between her and the group. And as everybody leaves, instead of going down to help with the treasure, I would like to petition that she spend her time looking. When we were first fighting the Sahuagin in the lagoon, Max had thrown the chimera claw that was given to her that had light on it. I'd like to see if she could find it.
That sunk to the bottom.
So it's going to take a long time to get all that treasure up, and it's going to take a long time to search for it.
Now remind me, Max threw this chimera claw, because I don't actually fully recall how this happened in battle. So maybe Max or Jacob and Mickey, you can remind me exactly logistics of how that happened, right?
I took it from Ignis without permission. Because she took my spyglass without permission, and Max was just not feeling good. It had the light on it, and Max dropped it into the middle of not the middle, but wherever the Sahuagin threw their spears at us from, he dropped it down so he could see all the enemies down there. So it started sinking.
So it synced to the bottom.
It was sinking. Yep.
Okay.
That's going to take a long time to try and search for it. So instead of helping
It
with the
will.
treasure, she would like to go see if she can find it.
Do you take a buddy?
Nope. Oh, I probably should, but no.
Well, let's go ahead and
Not trying to cause trouble. She has dark vision, and she's gonna hug this. Yeah, she's gonna hug the sides, and she's going to be watching out for anything because she knows she's alone, and a scout needs to be able to do a quiet job and not be seen. And she's trained in how to do that with her military background. She's not going to engage. I just want to see if she can get down and to where she could start looking for that claw.
I'm going to get to this real quick, Ignis. But first, I just want to finish the treasure. There is nobody here. There is nobody in the tunnels. There is nobody in any of the caverns. But all of the loot has remained behind.
Excellent.
It seems that whatever you guys did, which you decimated, it was successful in scaring away the remainder of the Sahuagin tribe here. But as you get to the throne room, you do see Krelloort, and you see the shark still there. The shark does have some flesh missing. Nope, shark turned to coral. Krelloort has some flesh missing. Yeah. And it looks like there might have been some either other sharks or creatures that decided to have a last meal before left. Max, you wanted to say something, though.
Well, just at some point, Max does want to do something else down here, but we don't have to do it immediately.
Great. I will note that while the rest of you get to loot.
Can I just ask the captain, hey, Cap, would you mind while I order these bozos around to gather all the rest of the loot, could you just keep a watch for us?
Absolutely. My passive perception is off the charts.
Ataraxia is like, I don't even have to actually be focusing on anything.
I'll just be over here zoning out, and I'll still notice if stuff shows up.
I have a passive investigation of 17, and I would like to focus all of my attention on making sure we don't leave any gold behind.
Yes.
Did you prepare locate loot today?
Yes, I have.
Nice.
Good.
Very good. Wonderful. There are some really large items here. As I discussed previously, there's some paintings, there's some like art down here. There are some like practical items like candles. There is some wood that seems to have been treated to not have been rotted yet down here. Maybe it was very recent that it was brought down, but you see some like sails as well. Like there's a lot of good stuff that could seem mundane unless you were a pirate or a sailor. That could easily be used to barter and swap. So like I said, most of this stuff does equate to be about, did I say 3 loot points last time? Oh, it was 1 in the treasure chest, 2 outside that you can collect. That's right.
Yeah, because we'll have 4 total at the end of getting everything up.
That's correct. And so you begin the process. You order around Tullamore. You order around Thomas the cabin boy. And you order around Wesley Usher, who is just eager to assist and eager to help and doesn't leave your side, Buster, really, until you order him to. But he somehow slowly floats back to you after completing a task. And this process goes on, and it is a laborious process, but you do start making some headway. It will take hours. It will take probably most of the day to do this. And at this point, we hop over to Ignis, who's looking for the Chimera Claw. Now, Max, the Chimera Claw, how big were you imagining this Chimera Claw being? Because I have my thoughts of like how large I thought it would be, but you were the one that lived with it.
It's 5 feet. No, I'm joking. No. I'm just joking.
We've been all carrying it around with us.
It is big enough to be the trigger of Max's heavy crossbow, because that's what he replaced the trigger with. So I'd imagine it's a good, I'd say like 3 to 4, maybe 5 inches if you want to get big.
Great. I was kind of thinking, I think that's in line with what I was thinking. I was kind of thinking like in Jurassic Park, the Velociraptor claw that they
100%.
use. I'm like, I feel like that's a pretty good indicator. So it's got some size to it. It's got some width for sure, but definitely not 5 feet long. And Ignis, you go to the water's edge and you start wading in. And you get to the edge of the cliff that leads down, down, down. And you look below and you take a breath just out of instinct before you submerge yourself and you start to swim. I want you to roll me a stealth check, please.
Great. Ooh, a 22.
22.
That's a good first roll tonight.
22, you say, Mickey, for your stealth.
I do.
Okay. All right. As you swim down, 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 below the surface of the water, as you swim down, you can see about 60 feet in front of you, yes?
Correct.
As you swim downwards, you can't see the bottom when you begin. Even with the sun shining down, because it is daytime and it's not a cloudy day, even with the sun shining, you can't quite see the bottom. And I'm not sure how Ignis would feel about not seeing the bottom of this possibly dangerous or at least abnormal formation here. But Thomas the GM would be terrified out of his pants, and it would be incredibly mind-numbing to just swim and down as it gets darker and darker, and you feel your dark vision start to take over, and you swim and you swim and you swim and you swim, and it gets to be an extreme depth for you. And so you start to feel some pressure against yourself, the pressure of the water, which you are familiar with. And I'd like you to roll a Constitution saving throw. This one's going to be a low DC, though, because you are not at the bottom yet. But you are about 200 feet down now.
That's a 15.
15. Enough for you. And you keep going down and down. And as you swim, you have time to think and reflect. So what is going through Ignis's mind as she is sinking, experiencing this supernatural landscape around her, where she has this cliff that just falls straight to the bottom as she's hugging beside it. The sun she can barely see above her due to the nature of this landscape around her, the dark vision overcoming her senses, and the cold just overtaking her body, while at the same time miraculously being able to breathe. What's going through Ignis's mind as she swims another 100 feet down, being 300 feet?
She is going to keep right along that edge, right along the cliff's edge. Being out in the middle of dark water and not being able to see even to the other side of the dark water is not something that she is interested in, especially not being able to see the bottom. And as she's swimming, the logic side of her brain is like going through her file cabinet of the things that she's read, that what have they discovered about the pressure of underwater exploration, how far they've been able to go, that it does get cold. There is a logic aspect of her brain that is trying to balance all of these tactics. I'm going to say keeping to the shadows, but we're so far from the sun. It's all shadows. But recognizing that logically, she is not going to take any risks. She is trying to be proficient and keep all of the things balanced, and at a certain point, if it becomes unsustainable, if she doesn't feel like she starts to feel too cold or she starts to feel too much pressure, she will give this up. It is not an end-all be-all task for her, but there is this other part of her that she is starting to understand as an emotional part of her that is driving her forward. Just 10 more feet. We get to that 10 feet, no, just 10 more. It could be just a little farther. What if I gave up right now and I miss the opportunity to do it, and it just keeps driving her just that little bit farther, and she hasn't been able to let go of this idea of this claw, because at first it really didn't bother her that it was gone. That she had taken something, this was thrown away, she'd cast light on it kind of as an impulse thing, but the longer it's been out of her possession, the more she has realized that it was her possession. And she has never had anything that wasn't military regulated. She's never been given something just for the sake of being given something. She's never owned something just for the sake of owning something. And so now that being out of her possession, she starts to feel that irrational, emotional connection to this object that is driving her forward. That's now at conflict with her logical brain of, she should not be alone. She should not be in the dark water. She should probably be helping the crew and being a productive person. And those are at war within her.
Mm-hmm. You get to 400 feet deep, and you still can't see the bottom, but you do see... Well, give me a perception check, actually.
I think it's 11.
11. You pass the 400-foot mark, and it's almost stark, the contrast in how the water feels. It's like, it was cold to... This feels so different on my skin. Like, it's not the same consistency as seawater. It's not the same. It's water, but it just feels different. And you're looking around, and with your 11, you can see that there are like kind of like these jutting out portions of a cliff, just like a normal cliffside, but below sea, to where like certain debris actually has been caught on some of these cliff sides as you've been falling down. Just tiny bits of debris. You notice like pieces of wood that maybe reasonably came from a ship or something like that. But again, as you keep falling below this 400-foot mark, I need you to roll me another Constitution saving throw, please. This one's going to be a higher DC.
Ooh, that's only an 8.
Remember, Thomas gave us all inspiration.
I did give everybody inspiration, correct. As you go a distance past 400 feet, and you start to realize in your chest, you're like... You actually start hyperventilating underneath the water, and you realize your water breathing is not working. And you stop trying to breathe in the water, and you are holding your breath, and you keep descending down, down, down. You now don't have the effects of water breathing due to this, just the setup of the landscape here and the depth as you keep moving forward. Still not seeing anything dangerous or any creatures, not having alerted anything, but it is still dark, and you keep going.
With that panic setting in and feeling that and being in the dark, she does start to panic. I would like to do one investigation check before she decides to give this up. Because I have high investigation and I am observant, I'd like to know more about the wreckage of just where she is. Is this like, my question is this like a boat that was above that just, it had damage and then it floated to the bottom? Was it a wreckage, or was it maybe something that a creature down here would have torn apart?
Yes, go ahead and roll me an investigation check then, and we can start to suss out exactly what this wreckage looked like and was.
I don't think it's fair to use the glasses of minute seeing because I'm not specifically looking at a close thing, but
Correct.
Just the general.
Correct.
That's 18.
18. As you continue to sink down, because you're just kind of taking things in, and you actually do see more wreckage, actually a lot more wreckage down here on the cliff sides that seem to be hanging off. You actually see parts of a mast. You see parts of some sails that seem to have been attached to a mast. And these sails are intact. With these sails being intact and the mast, the way they've been cut up, it actually looks like that these ships, these boats, were not splintered, if that makes sense. They were not grabbed and shattered. It looks like they kind of were fairly in one piece, and how they fell down here, or this particular portion, it doesn't make sense that they maybe would have been attacked or destroyed by an unearthly creature. It's at this point you get to about 500 feet, and at this point you actually do see something near approaching the bottom. And they are large masts sticking out from the bottom. You see really, really tall masts, and you actually see like 8 of them. And they're scattered amongst the wreckage of the bottom here. It's at this point you still can't see the bottom, but you do see that there are ships down here as you're holding your breath, which I believe you can hold a number of minutes equal to your
Constitution, right?
Constitution score.
Constitution.
No,
it's Constitution plus 1.
It's modifier.
It's modifier for sure, but I thought it was like
It's gotta
con
be
plus
modifier.
1.
Yeah, I think it's 1 plus con.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So at least 1 minute.
So it would be 3 minutes.
Okay.
I think Ignis will take that mechanically, only getting an 8 on her con, as finally the logic side winning instead of doing another dice roll. The logic side of her brain winning and going, this is a folly trip. It's not worth getting in trouble. And ultimately, what did that even mean? She tries to convince herself that it's meaningless. The claw really doesn't mean anything to her, even though it does. She's trying to convince herself that it's not. And so she will try to, because she's near the cliff, will start to ascend, and using the cliff, she'll try to pull herself up to try and get back up faster.
Okay. As you scatter some of this debris, as you're pulling this cliff, trying to give yourself some momentum and force, I need you to roll another Constitution saving throw.
Sure. 16.
16. You're still able to hold your breath, keep your calm and your composure here as you throw yourself up essentially and start swimming up. And once you get to about 400 feet below the sea level, or below the surface of the water here, you feel that difference of the water on your skin, and you tentatively take a breath in, and relief washes over you as your water breathing kicks back in. You're like, oh, okay, thank heavens. Thank heavens that it's finally able to kick in here. I'm going to have you roll an investigation check here.
Great. I would love to do that.
As you catch yourself next to one of these ledges, just sort of like breathing in deep, letting your body welcome this warmth, or rather this comfort of oxygen going to your brain.
14.
You see that there are these cliff sides, again, with a little bit of debris here and there, a little bit of there. You actually see some like Sahuagin remnants, sorry, not remnants of a Sahuagin, remnants of their civilization, rather, that they were here, that they lived here, and that they swam amongst them. The depths here. So you see like some chains. You actually see a crudely shaped like bone knife from a whale around this area. And so it is a nice breather to where you're able to take in your surroundings. But it is definitely something that would not like to experience again, not being able to breathe underwater after having a magical spell giving you this ability. So with that, you, I assume, rush back to the surface as quick as you can.
Yeah, she'll continue up, and she will, barring anything else happening, go back to the shore, down through the root system, back into the water, and kind of pretend, both to everyone and to herself, that she was there the whole time.
Yes. Okay. Easy enough. As you rush back upwards, the hauling of the loot continues, with Wesley really annoyingly trying to get a word in. It sounds like, Buster, to you, Wesley's trying to actually rise the ranks a little and get out of his little clique. He just hasn't been able to have the opportunity, and seeing a man of authority, he's just saying, I feel like I've learned a few knots where we could haul it up maybe a little bit faster, a little bit quicker.
I don't want you to move faster. I want you to move precisely. We need to not lose loot while we're carrying it, because then we'll never know where it is. Listen. Stop. Shut up. Okay. Shut up, Wesley. Listen. These gentlemen are your council, okay? Ours is the captain's council, all right? You're stuck with them. Look at me. Hey, look at me. You're stuck with them, okay? If they fail, you fail.
I'm going to roll something for Wesley here.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Just to see.
Morale check.
Not a life coach, Buster.
You don't say.
He lowers his shoulders a bit dejectedly and goes, yeah, of course, sir, Buster.
Just Buster, man.
I'll carry on and be precise as I can. And Blood Twist goes,
Wesley, you can help me over here. I'm trying to lift this log, and it's a little too big for me.
oh, yeah, I'll be right there, Blood Twist. And he swims off and...
Buster's like, I'm doing a good job. This is good. This is good for them.
Leadership.
Yeah, and when Buster turns away to focus on berating somebody else, I kind of sidle up next to Wesley and Blood Twist, and I'm like, Buster likes to play the bad cop. It's kind of his shtick. You can go places if you want to. That's a thing that you can do, that you can reasonably aspire to.
Captain, I just don't feel like that's a possibility for me. I've been stuck at the bottom of the chain here for a little too long.
And I've been trying to get in with Fish Guts to bring some of my patisserie to the ship, and he ain't really enjoying me talking to him.
What kind of patisserie are we talking about?
Well, mainly just like biscuits and a little bit of a croissant and
Croissant. It's a Creole croissant.
Oh yeah,
croissant.
it's got a little bit of a flaky crust to it, and at least about half the time when I do it, it does. And
Cool. I mean, maybe one of these days I can be down there and I can help do some supervising, and we can see how the croissants turn out.
well, I'd be mighty obliged there, Captain. Thank you. I know you have a lot of other responsibilities. I mean, you are the captain, after all, and we wouldn't want to take you from that, of course, sir. And he puts his hand on Blood Twist's. Wesley puts his hand on Blood Twist's shoulder and goes, "We're just grateful for your encouragement, right, Blood Twist?" Oh, yeah. Just grateful for the words there, Captain. Thank you. And well, I gotta pick up this mighty log now. So pardon.
Well, you get words and also probably some actions in the future. I'm going to talk to Fish Guts.
Oh, okay.
And he swims away.
And as I'm kind of like swimming off from that encounter, I'm like, first thing you say about making pastry is biscuits. Okay, this is
There you go.
maybe. Okay, maybe.
Maybe. So ever the optimist, Ataraxia.
Can't be anything else.
Right.
Max, you wanted to do something, yes?
Yes. As this whole thing's going on, as Max is helping out kind of with the hall, like ushering people to, okay, pick this up, helping, he also will go up to the seaweed curtains, which he can pass through fine and not have to roll anything. Woo woo, with his new ability. And he's actually going to take his scimitar out, and he's going to cut down each one from the top and kind of ball them up together as much as he can in terms of like grabbing the ends of them. And at some point, as Buster's kind of directing and doing his thing, I would imagine, in painting the picture, Buster will turn around and Max will be very uncomfortably close to Buster. And he'll just look at him with his big wide smile and he'll just say, "Follow me."
Can I insight check? If I'm in danger?
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Sure.
You may roll an insight check.
Okay. Insight. Natural 20.
He's lying. No, I'm sorry. No. No.
Come with me. Come with that.
Wesley,
He's
anybody?
literally asking you to follow him. That's
All
it.
right.
There's no ill intent. There's no like, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get. No, it's just like, in Max's weird, awkward way, that seems like it's violent, but it's not. He's just saying,
I've gotten used to it, yeah.
"Follow me."
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
And as they're about to go, Max realizing that if Ignis isn't back yet, he'll kind of turn and realize, oh yeah, like we're only leaving the captain left, and he'll go, Wesley,
Yeah?
you're the captain's number 2 while we're gone.
What?
Keep hauling the treasure. Make it so. And he'll swim.
Aye, Sir Max. You heard that, Spoon Sludge? Get your butt into gear.
I look at Max and I go, why didn't he make Davy the number 2?
Oh, I just saw you talking to him a lot, so I figured you trusted him a lot.
No, he thinks he's better than them. He's high on his britches. I need to take him down a notch.
You see Wesley literally like grabbing Spoon Sludge Slug Soup for like on the collar and shaking him and say, "You gotta do what I say." And Spoon Sludge Slug Soup is just like cowering a little bit, like what the.
I look at Max and I say, we gotta talk to Sandara about what she does while we're on these adventures with these fools. Because whatever it is, it's not enough. All right, what
It's not enough.
what are we doing, Max? What's going on?
Max will just start swimming, expecting Buster to follow him.
I follow as fast as I can.
And as we snake through the chambers, Max will be leading back to the chamber
No.
with the prisoner. Oh. And with the egg room.
Yeah. Buster figures it out as you guys are going, but he keeps following.
Number 1, Max wants to check to see if the prisoner is there still.
No, she's gone.
Okay. He kind of figured just because of the length they were gone for. But he'll go back into the egg room and he'll hand one end of each piece of seaweed to Buster, gesturing for him to go to the end of the room, and slowly, if Buster will cooperate, will lay each piece down on the ground, almost acting like a cover or a curtain.
Buster's going to try talking to him before engaging with this.
Yeah.
Max, what are we doing? What's going on? Listen, decisions were made in the heat of the moment under difficult circumstances. What is this? What do you want me to do with these?
I'll tell you after. Just lay them down.
Fine. And I engage. I do what he wants me to do.
It takes a little bit of time, as seaweed is a little bit hard to navigate, but especially underwater. But once you put a concentrated effort into it and almost do it your actions being very deliberate, the seaweed almost seems to behave with what you're asking it to do and what you're telling it to do.
Afterward, Max will just kind of be in the center of the room and be like, all right. Buster, I had what do you call it? Like an idea. There's like a firebolt moment. Just firebolt went off in my mind about our party, our council. We want an adventure. That's something that you reminded me of when we were down here last. A problem that I feel is our council wants adventure without investment in each other. What good's an adventure if you don't really care about who you're sharing it with? So, Buster, I'm investing in you. My wife wants to kill me. That's why I'm running away from everything.
What does that have to do with the cards?
I drew a card given to me by a stranger. And ever since that moment, my wife has denied who I am and has wanted to kill me. So I am on the run, if you will, and I am really scared of us going to this next port, because then word might get out about a funny-looking tall lizard man, and there's not a lot of us there in the world.
Is your wife a lizard woman?
I mean, that's a little personal. I'm just joking.
You wanna start
I'm just
investing,
joking, I'm
my
just
man.
joking. I'm sorry. No, she is not. She is not.
a lizard person. Buster, I know it's pitiful, but that's me investing in you. I want to trust you. I want you to trust me. And I don't want to keep mystery anymore about the perils we might cross. I just ask that you care about us, too. And I will try better to care about you.
And Max kind of looks around in this chamber.
I just want us to care about what we're doing.
Looking around the chamber, I think it hits Buster a little bit, and he kind of pauses. He goes, Max, I want to care. I liked caring when I cared, but it hurt to care, and I'm terrified that this thing we're building won't work. And I'm a survivor, ship to ship, long as I can, finding my way out, usually by myself. So caring hasn't helped me a whole lot in that regard. But he looks at the ground, he says, I'm seeing your point. Okay. I want you to trust me. I don't want you to hate me, but I don't know how to not hate myself. And this kind of stuff that I do kind of makes me not like myself still. So, maybe... So glad we're not in front of Ignis. Maybe you can help me.
I can do that. As sailors say, fix the sail and catch the wind. Let us be your wind as you fix your sails.
Okay. And I'll endeavor to do things that make me more worthy of being trusted and not disappointing you.
By the way, I also knew you hated Wesley. I just thought it was really funny to give him the charge.
It's a headache, that one.
He's an idiot.
Okay. Yeah. I really wish he would have been one of the guys who tried to mutiny Ataraxia.
I could tell.
But, yeah, okay.
As you finish laying the seaweed, almost like covering the floor, tying it to some of the stalagmites or tights that might be in this cavern, which are few, but making a statement here. And Buster, a bit of an atonement, actually, if Buster takes it that way, but I feel like it could be a bit of a restitution to reflect and think, and especially with Max assisting and helping, to let the wind carry you forward. And as the day comes to a close, with Ignis coming back and assisting with the loot, with Max and Buster returning, Ataraxia keeping a high passive perception, and the only thing you perceive is the increasing leadership structure amongst the lower deck council, if you will, with Wesley really rising into this forceful role, and some of the others falling lower and lower on the totem pole. The loot is gathered, is brought to the Satyr Song, and the Satyr Song casts off after a heavy, long day of work. Max and Ignis, you are exhausted, but that exhaustion that follows a good, honest day's work. Max?
Last thing Max wants to do real quick, just as we're kind of finalizing the ship and walking around and getting the sails down, he'll just, as he's walking by Ignis, the lieutenant, he'll be like, "Lieutenant,
Aye?
where'd you go?"
Where? Before? When y'all were down?
Yes. I'm very passively perceptive.
That you are. It's not a secret. I just was off exploring. Trying to find that chimera claw that you threw. Wasn't able to, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Things are given and things are taken away.
I mean, you technically still have my spyglass, but I understand that.
She'll reach into her pouch and give it back.
I got a new one, so you may have that.
She will return it to her back.
Max won't linger on it too much, but he'll just look at her in an intense stare and just go,
I'm sorry for taking what was yours.
Her initial response wants to be that it doesn't matter because it didn't in the moment. But in light of being open and sharing, she just says, "Thank you."
he'll nod and just keep going about the duties.
And she'll return to hers.
And as everybody's duties are being taken care of before the night's watch and before a night's rest, you all cast off and begin sailing toward Port Olo under Captain Ataraxia's orders. And what Port Olo may hold and have in store, we'll have to find out next time on I Cast Fireball.
I like how Ataraxia was almost the only one who didn't come on the trip, but it ended up being the only one who was actually there helping with the loot the whole time.
True supervisor.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh. I love this crew. Buster hates them, but I love them.
And we're going to have to see how those biscuits and biscuits work out.
And the Craysants.
And the Craysants.
They're the
croissants.
They're kind of,
Croissants.
sometimes they're buttery and flaky.
Oh,
I do
boy.
like that
Some
you
of
went
this
out of your
stuff-
way. You went out of your way to be like, there's one guy who has muscles and maybe seems like he's kind of figuring things out, and we never put him in charge.
Nope, not at all. Ned, what were you saying though?
Well, some of the things that Griselda said back when we were on Goat's Head make a little bit more sense now.
Yes, indeed. As Max's backstory is starting to unfold a little bit more.
Yes.
But we're going to call it there this week, folks. As always, Ned, Jacob, Josh, Mickey, thank you so much for playing. Listeners, thank you for joining us on this fun and wacky adventure that we've got going on. If you like what we're doing, if you like what you're hearing, please leave us a 5-star review. It gets us into other people's recommended feeds. It lets us know that you like what we're doing, and it helps everything, really. The algorithm, it helps us keep going, and it just helps in all forms. If you want to get a shout out on the podcast, leaving a 5-star review or shooting us an email at icastfireball2020@gmail.com is probably the best way to do it. We want to shout out a few people here on the podcast. We've got a 5-star review that somebody left. This is CT0857 Fade. That says they encourage anyone who likes D&D to listen to ICF. They say, I've listened to a few different D&D podcasts between Sneak Attack and this one. Hey, Sneak Attack, there we go. They're both their favorites. The cast is very passionate about what they do and working on their craft as storytellers. In addition, they even provide insight on how to play the game well in seeking to have a group that's out to better each other, which is something that new players and even seasoned veterans need to hear. C2085 Fade, that is something we want to try to encourage, and we really just like seeing happen around the table regardless. So thanks for pointing that out, and thanks for leaving the 5-star review. If you want to get shouted out, again, shoot us an email, icastfireball2020@gmail.com, or go take a look at our patreon.com/icastfireball20, where you can jump into our Discord, where you can chat with us on the daily, where we are in there, we're chatting about things. We're having live events for DM Prep on Season 2, where we're getting the most recent episodes we're recording. I'm prepping live with everybody on the stream there. And we've got a ton of backlogged videos for warm-ups that you can take a look at and see us make fools of ourselves getting ready to record. So go give those a check out. We're going to do a quick shout out to Improv Tabletop. Go give them a listen. That's where Ned takes a turn as the GM. We've got a really fun long-term campaign right now filled with Legos. And who doesn't love Legos in a Monster of the Week style campaign? So go give them a listen. Don't forget to leave them a 5-star review on the way out. But lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends, fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM. And around the table we have
Lieutenant Ignis Halcon.
Maximus Shans.
Ataraxia Kalian.
And Buster Bilgewater.
Let's keep that fire going, everybody. And we'll see you all next time.